Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoco.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, and to our guest lecturer members, Vite Ramen. Class is in session. For her throne. Hey there, rulers! Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will, including a new Force of Will video from the company, to your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast. It's Office Hours featuring myself, DMO73, and we're talking about a lot of water cards tonight, so I had to bring on the Water Boys, which is Patrick Ogans, and
the Water Boys are here,
and Paul Reisman.
Mermen.
And as always, for some strange reason, I keep inviting him back. It's Mike Rance.
I don't know why, dude. I don't know anything about this game anymore, but I'm just here for a good time.
We are here. If you like what we're doing, want to consider supporting the channel, or want to torture me by wearing gloves to make me wear gloves, you can click that join button down below or use the super chats. Currently have a goal where if we get 10 super chats, I'll put these things on. They're painful. So go for it, I guess. But we are here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of really cool stuff to talk about, and so we're just going to jump right into it. If you haven't already gotten your pre-orders in, you should definitely do that through Odyssey Games. Currently is working on getting more stock in, but CCG Prime and Cardodoco also have pre-orders up still too, so you can check those out. So let's talk about Alabaster Spellweaver Shaman. Quick cast untouchable 3/5 with Barrier Chant. You can pay 1 white rather than pay this card's cost. Spells or activate abilities cannot be played during a phase other than the main phase. That includes combat, by the way. If a non-Magic Stone, non-J ruler card would be put into the field without being played by paying its non-reduced cost, or by paying its non-reduced cost modified by its base ability, its controller removes it from the game instead. Enter, if you paid double white to play this card, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, then force 1. If the roll is 4 or higher, get a free Dawn of the Earth and put it into your hand. So, based on who you're talking to, this is either 70% of a Muse Spirit or 120% of a Muse Spirit, but in white. I'm in the 70% camp personally.
They also took part of Mirror and put it on it.
Kind of.
Locking you to main phase.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I find it funny that it loses to itself if you pay 1.
Yeah.
If your opponent plays 1 in response, because Untouchable stops working once it's resolving.
Yeah, not even Muse Spirit can stop Muse Spirit, but this can stop Muse Spirit. The other interesting thing that's different is Muse Spirit expels this RFGs, which I would argue is significantly worse of the two, right? With all the ways that we have to be able to utilize the RFG or put cards back from the RFG. It's a difference between like incredibly powerful and still really good, right? Like it's still really good, but interacting with something in the RFG is infinitely easier than interacting with the expel, right? That's just something to think about.
Significant.
You get to Tink with this card. It is a 1-drop that is a 2-drop. Yep, you can do this with Tink. Although you wouldn't want to, because then
wouldn't be able to
Tink would get RFG'd. So
yeah.
Just remove from the board. You're fine.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, you can't actually.
Wait, actually, no. What?
Oh yeah.
Wait, no.
Here's the thing you can do with it. You could do something like flash in Dark Alice, in response, flash in Alabaster. Alabaster resolves, hits board, then Dark Alice resolves, sacks the Alabaster, and then you can Tinkerbell for a 1-drop and a 2-drop and wipe the board and draw a card. It's only the most expensive 3-drop line you could ever possibly do. Or you could just, not do that.
Hey, look at that. That's smart. We
just mulligan half my hand
moves right there.
No, we'd only use that line when we're punishing our opponent trying to cheat something in, just like so we're just like weirdly trying to like finagle our way to this Alabaster. I don't know. So somehow,
yeah. This card seems awkward for an MR, but it's still fine.
It's Sigmund art. It's also gorgeous.
It's good that it's gorgeous art. It's just another tool that White gets access to.
Yeah,
complements its combination with blue and stuff. So
yeah, that for me is
I like
I'm
it.
really glad this is in white because there's a bit of time where like blue has kind of weirdly become the like don't cheat color. I mean, green had literally the card called don't cheat, but blue was kind of starting to do this whole like pay full cost or get punished route, which did make some decks kind of suffer a little bit because it was harder for them to justify splashing white or splashing blue just to do that kind of thing. And now they don't have to, right? Like now they can comfortably just splash white instead, which might be more in tune with what they were doing, or not have to worry about splashing into a third color to be able to still protect themselves, which I think is helpful. Diversifying the options on the color chart, I think, is helpful.
Enough text to be a Marvel river, that's for sure. I also like, other than it hitting itself, can you guys, other than it hitting itself, and also the tank play, if you want to consider that, or like anything tank related, what other options? What other reasoning is there that this is a 2 cost with with the enter and the line of text rather than being a 1 cost with just awakening white?
I think the idea is this because this card has no reunited text on it. And so I think the enter effect is what makes it a Millium support card in the Marvel Rare slot. Because there's no way in hell
Yeah.
that you would ever pay 2 for this card if you weren't playing Millium. But like Millium might want to just cast this, right? And so giving
Well,
him some
yeah, but
upside.
but is there any like other logistical reason as to why it wouldn't just be 1 cost with awakening white and then the exact text of put 2 counters on it,
I don't know.
etc., etc.?
Because I wanted it to get hit by itself. I know you said
Yeah,
that.
that's the only reason. Is just make the mirror match fucking weird.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, it is the interesting thing for
Perfect,
this card.
easy.
It is an ancient, and so Yokoshima can also just cast this for a mana counter, which I think is hilarious.
Oh, I guess APC is a 2-drop too.
That's true. Also, also
guess,
ABC
yeah.
element. Yeah, it fits in the 2-drop
That
slot
feels
instead of another
so
1-drop.
minor, but I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. You must reorganize my cards. It's not that bad, Paul. It's just that weird Staples box that we built before we got super heavy into Wanderer, and then suddenly everything went to shit. that box is the chaos box right now.
That's detention. That's detention.
You get to
Glory and
reorganize.
Bad for
You have to reorganize the
Ooh,
Staples box.
ooh.
I'd be perfectly fine with that, honestly.
That's fine.
Hope you learned your lesson.
Give me a task. Let me put on the podcast in the background so I can listen
Okay.
to Jeremy speak while I'm organizing his cards.
Let's talk about our next card though. So this is the Frog Prince, the other MR for the Millium package. It is a Fairy Tale Frog Prince, 2-cost quick cast with Mythic and Barrier, 2/9. If you would perform the force effect, roll that many +1 and choose the result of the 1 die instead, or ignore the result of 1 die instead. When you perform a force effect, if the result is 2 or higher, target resonator becomes +1/+1 as long as this card is in the field. And then Magical Kiss, which is 1 white. This card controller performs Force 1. If the roll is 5 or higher, this card's controller shuffles it into its owner's deck, gets a 6/7 Fairy Tale Prince token with Multi-Strike and Eternal that can be played by either player. Each player can only activate 1 Magical Kiss ability per turn. Do keep in mind real quick.
This is the funniest card.
So do keep in mind real quick
That's a
that
mandatory effect.
the opponent, the performing a force effect thing is a mandatory effect. So you have to have a target, right? Which is a little bit crazy. I mean, you could just keep targeting the same thing over and over again to just like keep making it a 1/1, I suppose. But if your opponent's trying to be the one to do it. But keep in mind, it does say this card's controller performs Force 1. So if your opponent has a Frog Prince that's locked down a bunch of your stuff and you try to Magical Kiss it away, they get to roll 3 dice and ignore 1, which means they can ignore the highest die and try to keep their result under 5. And then you probably made another thing into a frog. I really like this card a lot. Like flavor-wise, power-wise, what they're very clearly trying to set up Dragon Millium to do wise, like great card.
I don't know if it would actually be on the field to trigger.
What do you mean?
If it got shuffled away.
It would perform. It would see you. That's an interesting question. You'd perform the force effect.
Perform, which is a weird word.
Yeah,
the
that's
CR.
true. We'd have to. The Q&A would certainly answer it. If it gets shuffled away, you might not be able to successfully see its own ability make something into a 1/1. Not that that really matters because it's getting shuffled away and therefore the card isn't on the field, but it makes sense for like it's just upside to all the other force abilities. Especially considering a card that we will talk about in a moment that gained a force ability very easily.
Interesting question. I feel like the answer is probably no to this, but given the fact that the putting the token into the field is not an if you do from this card being shuffled back in, if you respond to your opponent magical kissing and you magical kiss and both of you roll a 5 or higher, do you get 2 tokens?
If the result of the roll, I think it shuffles. I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, you put both abilities on the chase.
So then one
But it's
would
not
And
an
both
resolve.
resolve as
do.
much as possible.
I mean, I don't know necessarily. I mean, yeah, that's true. You could possibly get 2 Fairy Tale multi-strike tokens by punishing your opponent. That's very interesting.
Oh my god, we're part of the way to the gloves.
Srith Dragon Mill looks so fun. I agree. Dragon Millium does look like a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I'm very excited about it. Did I
Well,
take that
also-
one, Paul, or did
well-
I give that one to you?
I think you have this one
Ooh,
because very classically you enjoyed this list
that's
when
true.
it was like
That's
first
true.
released.
I did enjoy
released.
Millium. I did enjoy Millium a lot. I'm a huge fan.
This card feels like an APC card to me.
It's gross in ABC. Oh my goodness.
It's really gross in ABC.
This is basically
fine
wait.
in
This is basically just this is kind of just Oko. If you let it go
It's
unchecked,
Oko.
it's basically just Oko. It's a permanent debuff on something.
Make it an elk. Make it an
Make
elk.
it an elk. Make it a frog. Make it a frog.
Make it a frog.
Make it a frog. Make it a frog. Make it a.
I will say in ABC it's a little bit harder to like remove. That's interesting, right? It honestly gets better in ABC when you don't have Ryula, because then you're only rolling 2 die and you can ignore 1. So it's just like, oh, this one's a 6, but this one's a 2. Whoops! I'll just ignore the 6. Like, good tool for blue white. Although then you have to have ways to do more force effects. So you're probably leaning heavier into the force package in your ABC deck, which isn't a bad idea because we got a bunch of them, but it is like something to be considerate of.
I'm gonna try and figure out a way to make this happen in like OG Valentina. Just flash this in for blue. Don't even play white and just go to town on somebody. That just sounds funny.
Why would you need to do that? Because it has quick cast itself.
Neat.
But I don't want to play. I don't want to play white. Come on.
And get Mew Spirited.
Perfect. Done.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Get Alabastard.
Thank you. All right.
No, he's going to be playing his own Muse. He's going to play into his own Muse. Come on.
That's fair. That's
There you
fair.
That's the way you do
Next
it.
up, we have Constantino, the lucky boy. Oh, go ahead.
hold
Paul.
on. We're
Yeah,
not
go
done.
ahead.
We're
Okay,
not
I'm
done.
going back. I'm going back. Paul, go
We're
ahead.
not done.
This is a 2-drop water resonator.
It
pack.
is a 2-drop water resonator.
Oh my god.
Olivia Stonks.
You can get
Might have
Alabaster
went
and
down.
Olivia too.
I think Olivia
No,
Stonks went
Alabaster is
down with
just
this
white.
card. There you go. Okay, you can move on. now.
There we
You're
go.
fine.
Constantino, the lucky boy. 2-cost Fairy Tale Human. Drain, barrier, total cost 1 or less. Non-Fairy Tale J resonators your opponent controls with attack higher than this card's attack enter the field rested and cannot be recovered in any way. Reunited with Millium, successor of the Dragon Crest. Automatic abilities of Fairy Tale J resonators you control without Constantino in their name trigger an additional time they originally trigger. And enter, search your deck, graveyard, and or hand for a card named Kid Puss in Boots and put it into the field. If you search your deck, shuffle it. I would like to point out that Kid Puss in Boots' ability is enter force 1, put that many +1/+1 counters on it, which, by the way, if you're playing with Ryula, each one of those force 1s is actually force 2, and then Constantino will get to roll 4 dice. Kid Puss in Boots is a 1-drop that will enter with 4 dice worth of +1/+1 counters on it.
And it's a Baguska.
And it's a Baguska.
And it's also
Baguska.
Baguska.
Schattenfänger, this is Masterpiece 2 Fates Reunited. It is the Masterpiece set that is all brand new support for the Lapis Cluster rulers. All 25 of them, and it's pretty hype. It's pretty hype stuff.
Yeah.
Comes out next week.
Also,
Got that
Jeremy,
inheritance.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
trying to see. You can kind of see it in the background. If I you can't read it at all. But, I mean, you can kind of see something there in the background. Maybe an open box of something or another. Speaking of
Ooh,
something,
wow.
It's almost like he filmed the video.
Shush. I think
Take a peek behind the curtains.
yeah, J Ruler Milliam's attack and defense trigger getting doubled is also insane. Like, that's crazy. Like, you can really rush down with Dragon. Like, it does make sense now that, like, you can try to rush down with Dragon Milliam or with, like, Fairy Tale Milliam with his attack and defense triggers. And then if he gets killed, you can be like, well, time to go to being a dragon. You're like, J Ruler 1 died. Time to go to J Ruler 2. Whoops.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And
Only if you don't roll pretty high on your first reel roll.
shush. You've been away for a minute. Is there a pre-release? There is no pre-release for this set, Robert. We are just jumping straight into the set release because Masterpieces don't have a pre-release kit. 3-cost Alice that changes race to double all enters. I mean, I suppose
Sure, if you wanna pay 3 for
you
it.
go for it, bud. Like, in the jank world, don't hate that. Also, it has an inheritance in
I mean,
white.
Neverend too.
Neverend can also do it, yep. Also, inheritance, cancel target God's Art ability you don't control. I like having some more ways to interact with God's Arts. It's good. Well, that's already also a in-color ability that white has had before. So I do not mind that at all. And it has that
Yes.
inheritance even if you're not playing with Millium. I don't know why you
Which
would ever...
boon was it?
Seventh
Your
boon?
7th boon?
Mm-hmm.
It was either kill all tokens or cancel a god
Or
art.
cancel a God Art.
Yep.
This one actually has some better flexibility on it.
Death
Also-
and taxes playing this card, even in like 0 death and taxes, like I think 0 would just play this.
No,
Like,
I want to. No, you know where I want to play this, Jeremy? I want to play this in. Do you remember that old deck where it was the Valhalla? Einherjar you're summoned to bring back
oh
the
sure.
Pandora that
It's a
unsealed
human.
everything. What if you just pop this thing around to the board T1 and just like, all
Oh,
right,
it is
cool,
a fair
have fun,
kill
buddy.
human.
Yeah, he's a human.
Yeah.
And he's a 2-drop. It's like,
Let's go,
Middle of the
easy.
There you go.
there you go. Goodness gracious. Also, very cool artwork.
Yeah.
Kid.
Yeah,
Kel-
this
Kelvin always does
right
good
out of a
work.
storybook.
Speaking of adorable artwork, we go to Rumi's next piece of artwork. This is the Dragonoid Beekeeper. I love this card so much. Just bees.
Bees!
1 drop, 2/3
Bees?
Dragonoid. Quick cast, drain, barrier, red, black. J Resonators battling with this card lose multi-strike, pierce, and bane. So like you just
Anti-Adelbear.
you're just
This
not
card is anti-Adelbear.
Anto Adelbert for sure. Cards named Millium Weapon gain remnants, and as an additional cost to play this card, force 1. If the result is 6 or higher, copy this spell 2 times. You may choose new targets for the copy in all zones. Millium's Weapon, by the way, is a 1-cost quick cast spell that just has put 2 +1/+1 counters on something.
Why is
So-
it a cost?
Yeah, I love that it's an additional
Why
cost.
is it a cost?
Just like, hey, you want to, as you're playing this card, triple this card? Yeah, sure. I would love to.
All right, you have a
I'm gonna
50%
play
chance
this-
of hitting a higher than a 6 because you have Riula. Go for it.
Yeah.
Put Milliam's weapon on the chase. Hold on, let me go get some dice real quick.
Yeah. Whenever this
Where's the-
card
where's the
attacks
brick?
or blocks, force 1. If the result of the roll is 3 or higher, you gain 600 life, then put 2 +1/+1 counters on this card. Blocky boy. Blocky boy. Bees.
Bees?
My only disappointment with this card is, well, no, it might actually, never mind. So my only disappointment with this card is that it's not getting an Uber. I would love
No,
it.
my
I would
disappointment with
love-
this card is
I would love an
Well, yeah.
Uber Dragonoid Beekeeper.
So they're not in the box toppers. Oh, they might be in the box.
No, we know we know the Marvel rares are the Ubers. So because it's an SR, it's not going to get one, unfortunately. Which is also why Long Tony isn't going to get an Uber, which is very sad.
No.
Poor Long Tony.
It's very sad.
I'm a little sad that this card doesn't create bees. And it's just kind of like blocking, because that would have been fun. Make fairy tale bees.
Bees.
I don't
No.
know if they would
My only
do,
other-
we're gonna make
The
fairy
Milliam's-
tale bees.
The Milliam's weapons is like a swarm of bee stings because it's
No,
just
we gotta
little.
make fairy tale bees. That
We-
King
okay.
Soren can get even.
Jeremy, we're not getting alternative art with Milliam's weapon being just like a basket full of bees.
Pocket bees.
What's this?
William?
Mix.
Listen, Taylor's in the chat. We've already got her doing some Long Tony artwork. We gotta have some Milliam Pocket Bees artwork now.
Pocket bees.
Can we just wait? No, Taylor, if you can make Dr. Bees with Milliam's face on it, I would love you forever. Oh my
Milliam
God.
art, say no more.
Done.
Oh.
Here we go.
Okay, we have one more Milliam card to go. This is the Grimm Family's Crown of Stars. 3 cost regalia with Mythic and Eternal. Tap, you may banish this card. Perform the following effect based on the number of dragon power counters of J rulers you control. If it's at least 5, you force 1. If it's 5, 6 or higher, you draw a card. If you're at least 10, then you also force 1. And if the result of that one is 7 or higher, you gain a grand. If you hit 20 dragon power counters, you force 1 a third time. And if the result is 8 or higher, you produce 3 will. And 30, if you banish this card to play the activation cost of this ability and you control a stone named Stone of the Dragonoids, you win the game. Alt win cons, baby.
Also,
Good.
to keep in mind, those are all separate force triggers, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You will get a dragon power counter for each time on this card.
Yeah.
Uh,
What a way to
that's
ramp
pretty
dragon
good.
power.
So okay, walk me through that, because Milliam 2 says whenever you roll 1 or more dice using force.
But it's
No,
it's
it's
force.
three different
It's
force
3
triggers.
separate instances of force.
It's
so
not
each,
force 1,
Gotcha.
force 2, force 3. It's force 1, force 1, force 1 again and again.
So it's
That's
3.
important.
So it's 3 dragon power counters because it's 3
Yes.
triggers of Milliam every single time you tap this.
So with Ryula, this is force 2, then
3
another
times.
force 2,
Then another
then
force through.
then another force 2.
Mm-hmm.
With a different effect for each one.
Mm-hmm.
The-
Once you get to 20 dragon power, essentially this card is saying like the difference between 20 and 30 is like this. like get get to 20,
Yeah.
get to 20,
You get
and
to
then you will
10.
get to 30
Hey.
very fast.
Just get to 10.
Yeah, snowball crown.
You are off.
yes.
I can't wait to just roll nothing but 1s and 2s and never see this card work.
Well, the thing is, this card, the end
But
game
you're
of
still
this card,
rolling.
the end game of this card doesn't care about what your roll is. If
Yeah,
you
it
just
doesn't care
did you
about
get
what you
30
rolled.
dragon power counters? Congrats.
You did it.
So instead of flipping Milliam and rolling 30 d6 to see how big he is, you just get 30 counters, tap it, and win.
But Jeremy, I want to roll 30 d6.
I mean, you go for
Correct.
it, bud. You go for it, dude. It's fine. I'm not gonna stop you.
The
I
Virgin
cast
Family Crown of Stars
Fireball.
versus the Giga Shed.
So what you
Flip
could
Milliam.
so what you can do with it, honestly, thinking realistically, what you can do with this card that's the best is flip Dragon Milliam, have him be an absolute beater of a card, use him to pay the mastery of this card. Although on the Dragon side he wouldn't have the name, would he?
No.
Never mind. Ignore me. It's a
I'm
little-
giving him swiftness. He's going face.
That's
Okay.
fair.
And then when he dies, he flips back, and then you do this.
Srith, so are you
Perfect.
supposed to start out with regular Milliam and then go to Dragon? If you want to use the Ryula sub-ruler, that is exactly what you will be doing. You will be starting with starter deck Milliam and Ryula, and then Ryula can turn you into Dragon Milliam.
I like Frog more than Pandora now. Glorium fan.
Ryula
Because you-
plus
I like
It's
Frog
just-
more than most cards right now.
Frog is just infinitely better than the Pandora, because Pandora is just Riula. And
Frog is also just cool.
and you also like you already have Riula,
Frog increases your average,
right?
and you don't need to hit that much.
Hermit Stone, yeah, for sure. So, Milliams essentially got 6 cards worth of support because they got combined into one deck instead of being 2 separate rulers, which I think is just fine for that man. But let's talk about the other Dragonoid ruler, Alhamut.
Daddy!
We're going to go back to more water cards. I can't... Listen, we're going to go back to Valentina. It's okay. So, Long Shadow of Alhamut, perform the following effect 1 time. If you control a J/ruler with Alhamut in its name, perform the following effect 3 times instead. This means you can choose the same thing multiple times. Put an Ancient Magic card that doesn't share a name with this card from your graveyard or RFG into your hand. Put X 4/2 Darkness Dragonoid Shadow Resonator tokens into the field, where X is the number of Dragonoid J Resonators you control. Or search your deck for an Ancient Magic that doesn't share a name with this card or with cards you revealed this turn. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. A key thing to point out, this card gains Quick Cast, and everything you control becomes a Dragonoid if you're playing the Sub-Ruler. If you have the Fate card, Evil Eye of Alhamut, then this card gains Quick Cast, gains Remnant, and everything's a Dragonoid. You need 2 bodies on field to end result of this spell with 16 bodies on field. Because the first performance of the effect will go from 2 to 4. The second performance of the effect will go from 4 to 8. And then the third performance of the spell will take your 8 and give you 8 more. So you will go from 2 bodies at the end of your opponent's turn to 16 of them.
16 bodies, buy back 3 Ancient Magic cards.
Well, you don't.
No,
if you do 16, if you do 16 bodies,
choose one.
Yeah, if you
Choose
do
one.
16 bodies, that's all you're doing. But it is lethal.
Okay. It is very much lethal.
And you can do it in response to removal.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Just remember, in terms of long cards from this set, Long Tony's coming in here like, look, the mana this guy needs to mimic a fraction of our power.
Yeah, for sure. We need 6. You need 6 will. We need 1.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. Like, by itself, if he doesn't have the Sub-Ruler, I think this card is pretty trash. But when you consider the fact that it will have Quick Cast, Remnants, and all your stuff is Dragonoids, then you're like, oh, I see why this card is a Marvel rare. Like, I see why this is...
I like it being able to tutor out everything that you haven't seen so far.
That's true.
If you're going second and you don't get the Fate immediately, you could just start tutoring for not triple Rune of Soul, what I'm saying, but you can do Rune of Soul 3 times.
Yep.
Stack your hand.
Very important. Very importantly, this is a kind of Marvel Rare design that I really enjoy, just because like it's like a big flashy finisher that you're not necessarily going to need like 4 of in your deck to make it work. I could see this being like a 2 of because it's searchable.
2 copies.
Ooh.
2 Long Shadow.
Shiny.
Yeah. It feels like this to
Long
me
Shadow.
feels like a great like threat to threat for Alhamut. It also feels like an absolute amazing spell for him to cast if you get to triple flip. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like if you get to triple flip Alhamut and you have one of these in hand, like that's the game, right? Like you're just like, cool.
GG.
I searched for 3 other spells that I could take. I searched for 3 other spells. I searched for
Steam
3
Explosion.
I will search for 3, not Steam Explosion because he can't help with X costs.
X equals 0, but whatever.
But I will search for Invitation to Disaster. I will search for like it's just like the game's over, right? This is Alhamut's, in my opinion, this is Alhamut's The Game Is Over card, which back in the day he really didn't have a great The Game Is Over card, right?
Except for himself being
Right.
2020 big boy.
Swiftness, precision flying for strike barrier guy.
that dies to Searching Light.
By the way, the flavor text is it's the end. So yes.
Yeah, for sure.
You're done.
For sure. His
Power
next
word die.
power word die. Yeah, for sure. His next card. His next
Thank you,
card
Taylor.
is Apathy of Light and Darkness, a 4-cost ancient magic that has 2 modes. Again, only you can use the second mode if you have the Subruler active, because you need that Remnant. Non-Dragonoid J Resonators gain -X, where X is the number of mana counters on J rulers you control. You may discard a card if you do draw a card, only usable from hand. And then the from Remnant card is put a Resonator with total cost Y or less from a graveyard into the field under your control, where Y is the number of mana counters and J rulers you control. Choose this option only if you play this card from a zone other than your hand. I would like to point out, this doesn't target.
Yay!
You just
Cute.
you just pick what you want at resolution. You go, put on chase. Someone answer? No? Cool. What do we got? I'm gonna go shopping.
Yeah, those are some nice inheritance cards you got there.
Look at this ABC pod. We're late in the game. There's 4 players here. What are we doing? I mean, that's obviously a little bit tricky to do in ABC because you have to be able to give this card Remnant, and it doesn't naturally have Remnant. Thank God. What set did his Fate card come out with? Timeless Eclipse of the Underworld. It was one of the first 5 Fate cards that got spoiled. It's the blue one. Deadeye of Astaroth.
Just check my notes. It reminds me of the Fantasia thing where Balderog or whatever his name was, just he's like,
Chernobog.
look at my nails.
Yeah, very cool card.
Also, let's say this image is like 100,000% aura. Like this is
Yeah.
like pure.
Yeah, for sure.
But also like the chain really brings it all together. Like literally dropping the hottest album of 2025 with this butterfly hands.
Well, he can't drop the hottest album because he's
This
dead,
great.
as we're seeing in the third card, the locked glass tube.
Posthumous album.
Posthumous album. So this is a 2-cost grave edition. I would like to point out it is a grave, which means Sigurd can grab it if you're feeling spicy. Reunited with Alhamat, you cannot gain life, and then it has Emperor's Shadow. At the end of your turn, put a 2/2 Darkness Shadow Dragonoid Resonator into the field. Each turn, only 1 Emperor's Shadow ability triggers per player, and only if this card is in your graveyard. So if it's in your graveyard, get a free body every turn. What is dead will never die. Resonance Light or Darkness Magic Stone. Put a Light or Darkness Ancient Magic card from your graveyard into your hand. Put a mana counter on a J ruler you control. With mana, you lose 300 life. And it taps to produce white or black, which can be used for anything. I would like to point out that if I play this card and then use it to play his little 1-drop demon, I refund it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Because his little demon
Yay.
counts as a Darkness Magic Stone, which will trigger Alhamat's Mana Resonance and this card's Mana Resonance.
That's pretty good.
So,
That's
a
pretty good.
thing.
Paul, related to your this is my Drake impression. I'm assuming this is the Drake impression after the halftime show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's been the
Very
Drake
good.
impression for several months now.
Oh, that's
Very good.
that's
Okay. I'll-
kind of rude.
What's rude, Patrick?
I'm thinking of this card just with Viola's Machinations.
Yeah.
Because it also
Ooh.
refunds a mana counter, and you put it back in your hand if you do that line that you were talking about. You do it again.
Mm-hmm. You can just, yeah.
It goes in circles and circles.
I mean,
and circles,
it's
circles.
not, it's a, I mean, like, I would argue that it's just what Viola's Machination was before, but with extra steps. You, like, can just use the same copy of Viola's Machinations instead of having to open multiple. But, like, there is a world where you could go turn 1, if you're going second, right? You go turn 1, coin +1, play this card, play Viola's Machinations for a mana counter, use the 1 from this, play the dude, get 2 back, buy the Machinations back, play the Machinations again, and you're still like +1 mana counter from when you started, and you ramped 1. Like, arguably, it is like it doesn't discard as much, but it leaves you in a stronger position as to not having to gas your whole hand out as the old like Viola's Machination loop that we used to do. But I don't know. I like anytime I see Spell Sling deck generate tokens, make things scary, I just go, oh, crossing point. Like, we're just playing Crossing Point with this guy, right? Like, very clearly.
I do believe that's a Crossing Point reference in the Long Shadow of Alhamat.
You think so? Let's go check.
I think I'm gonna check that.
Well,
Because I'm pretty sure
that
that's
castle,
exactly what it is.
that castle does kind of look very similar to like some of the building structures of Crossing Point, right?
Crossing Point's way more up close, and it
Yeah.
doesn't look like it's White Palace. So I don't know. Maybe it's just meant to be like reminiscent. I don't know.
But like I was also saying back when Crossing Point was spoiled, I was like, oh hey, by the way, Alhamat's coming out next set. This card is insane for Alhamat. Like,
Mhm.
like even back when Alhamat was first spoiled, or Crossing Point was first spoiled, I was like, it was funny. Someone at our locals, David Curris, who is wonderful, put together an Alhamat list for our locals, and we were like talking about it or whatever. And it was like, yeah, I really wanted to build it, and I told him, I was like, I don't want to build Alhamat yet for the channel because he's gonna get more support next set, and his sub ruler plus Crossing Point are insane. And David looked at me and went, wait, which extension rule? And I went, please read Crossing Point.
Mhm.
And he went, oh, I'm gonna come back to Alhamat in like 3 months. And I was like, yeah, that's the time to come back to Alhamat.
It's gonna be very cute to turn all of those 4/2 Darkness Dragonoid Shadow Resonators into
9/7s.
9/7s.
Yeah, crazy.
Large. Until all your chants get
Big.
whacked.
Yeah. Also seems resonator focused with the tokens. Yeah, he certainly can be. I mean, even back in the day, he had a couple different ways you could play him. Like he could generate a bunch of tokens and then like sack tokens to make more mana, or he could play into like heavy spellslinger version. So this is like in theme for him, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, guys, back to water cards.
Yes.
Yay!
Valentina, the porcelain statue of the Overlord. We're going to start on the sub-ruler side. You may choose any number of options instead of the specified number of options of water darkness, that has to be water and darkness, non-chant spells, or water darkness abilities you control with choose one. If you choose exactly one, non-randomly. So essentially, you can't do the like deep from the depths spell.
reach.
The
Valentina's
reach from the depths. Well, you can't do reach from the depths. The Olivia spell because it has you choose one
Call from the
randomly.
depths.
Call from the depths. You can't do that one because it has you choose one randomly. But you could
It's also
do
a chant.
Valentina's.
Wait, but what if Dolly's on board?
I need you to stop talking. Thank you. So water darkness abilities you control would choose one if you would choose exactly one non-randomly. Water or darkness spells you control with X in their cost gain. You may pay 200 life rather than pay 1 up to X times. You cannot pay more than 1,000. So you can always set the X to be 5. You can also pay into the X, but you can pay life to get X up to 5. As long as
Turns
you're in
into
the
a
chase area.
final battle.
Essentially,
situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Water Darkness Fantasy Resonators you control gain when this card leaves the field, trigger its printed automatic abilities in all zones, and you can tap to pay blue to recover up to 2 target fantasy entities. The main change, I'm just going to go over really quickly to the Regalia side. The main change on the Regalia side is any Water Darkness spells, not non-chance. So you can use it for like Valentina's Reach if it's if it's on the Fate side or the Regalia side. But you have to do specifically water darkness spells gain that final battle ability. So on the J ruler side, on the sub ruler side, can't do chance, but it can be water or darkness. On the Regalia side, it's any kind of spell, but it's specifically water darkness become final battle cards. And then you can tap to destroy a resonator with attack higher than or lower than its printed attack or defense, which is what the Valentina ruler side does. So that's kind of great. I would like to point out that I personally can predict one card that I believe is going to be on the combo ban list or the full ban list with this release of this card. Would anyone else like to guess what that card is? Patrick?
No.
What card do you think is going to be banned?
It's
Because
Roar.
it's Roar of Dark Blessing. Good job. Yay. We found it. Yeah, probably not going to survive the ban list with this card. They don't want you to be like, oh, you're Valentina? What if you just paid 1 black and 1,000 life to make your opponent remove their whole hand from the game? Probably not. Probably not.
Nope.
You probably already should... yeah, it's either a combo ban of Roar with this card or just get rid of Roar at this point. Either one of those is fine. Like, I'm even okay with this card existing with Last Movement. I think that gives Valentina, like, she's a slower deck, right? Like, let her have Last Movement, which is like pseudo removal. But Roar is egregious and I don't want it.
Wait, how? Wait, Jeremy, explain to me how this card combos with
So
Roar of
specific
Dark Blessing?
on the sub-ruler side, it says water or darkness spells you control with X in their cost.
I'm looking at the Regalia side.
Yeah. So it
That's
only
fine.
works. It only works if Valentina's going first, but it like we hit Typhon's discard spells for less than what this card does. So like, it seems pretty probable that this card is gonna get some kind of axe on great Roar Dark Blessing. Lakeside House, what a great game! Recently started again with a friend since TCW. Welcome back. Game's great. Game is great. Did we already talk about Roar? Yes, we did. Valentina's Reach does the same thing, but for 1 more mana, which seems safer with Mirror around. Yeah, for sure. It also can't be done on turn 1. Like, I'm okay with you trying to do it on turn 2.
Also,
That's
Do you have a
main
mirror?
timing.
No.
Roar is also
You
main
have no
timing.
hand.
No, Roar isn't main timing. I'm fine.
Roar is not quick cast.
Oh, never mind.
It is not quick guess.
Dear God, we would all be
Brain.
playing it.
Okay, well, hear me out.
Dustin Jones, hold on. Dustin Jones. I don't think Roar works with it because of how the sub-ruler is worded. Never mind, you're dumb. Well, we didn't say it, Dustin. So, glad to have you, bud.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. Okay,
Wow.
Jeremy, calm down, bud.
He's just mad at me.
Anyway.
He's taking it out on everybody. because
I'm just mad at Pat.
I'm too excited at
I'm
this
just,
card.
yeah, for sure. Okay.
All right, I need everybody in this room to make sure that when you're playing this deck, you're playing as many deep blue, the Phantom board, as possible, because we are doing this turn 1. Mark my
Valentina's Reach?
words.
Jeez. Fucking
Oh yeah.
Trust me, Mike, that was the second thing that I said when I had this card spoiled. I was like, hey, would we just open double deep blue plus reach?
Listen, you go
Yeah,
for it.
baby,
At that point,
let's go.
listen. At that point in time, Godspeed, gentlemen.
You deserve it.
Well played, everybody.
Hey,
We'll
let's
see you
go.
later.
You're,
Hey, Lamau.
you're thinking of the choose mode, yeah, for sure. All good, buddy. Okay, so these are the first 2 water cards, and we did invite the water boys on to talk about it. So, lads, your thoughts. Excellent.
go?
Thank you
All right,
very
all
much.
right.
You guys
Okay,
are
I'm
great.
sorry.
This is why I invited you on. This is why I invited
love
you on
this card.
for
I
deafening
love this
silence.
card a lot. I'm really mad that they had to add anti-Olivia text to this card, even though it would make all of Olivia's cards broken as heck. Because you could just be like, all right, remember this old card called Solar Painter? Let's make all of Olivia's water cards also darkness. Let's make us choose all of the modes, all of the good modes on all of those cards that have multiple good modes.
Yeah, well, if you want to do that, go play Valentina. You can't play Olivia.
Wait. If you put Dolly in Valentina, does that
Correct.
make it so
So
you're not choosing?
You're choosing non-randomly. That's correct.
Yes.
However,
Wait,
you have
you
to
are?
make Dolly darkness.
No, I don't.
No, I'm missing ordering.
No, I do not think that Dolly somehow makes this card then suddenly work with. Makes all of Olivia's cards then suddenly work.
One
with
sec.
this
I'm
card.
looking up Dolly's text.
Alejandro in
Choose
the
non-randomly instead.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
my
oh,
understanding is
interesting.
Dolly should work.
Oh yeah, you're
Dolly
no,
should
you're right
work.
because of the wording of Dolly. Choose non-randomly instead, so she makes it so you're choosing one non-randomly, which means that then you. Jeez, Louise.
We are really grasping at straws.
If you are on Regalia side, you can get all modes from Call from the Depths if you have Dolly.
Yeah. Kind of gross.
God.
Thank God it
Dolly.
doesn't work with Thunder
you make
Empresses.
Dolly
Let him
Darkness,
cook. Let him
You
cook.
get
I'm
all
letting
3
him
modes
cook.
from Dolly.
I'm letting him cook. Let's go.
Let the water boys cook.
Let him cook.
If this worked
They're
with
cooking
Thunder
with
Empresses
water.
Strike, I'd vomit.
Look,
You'd
this
have to
card
use
was
solar. You'd
foiled.
have to use Solar Painter, but then it would. Paul.
Mhm.
If you had Dolly plus Solar Painter plus the Regalia, you would get all modes off of Thunder Empress's Strike. So by all
That's
means,
disgusting.
go for it.
Not consistent enough for me. But we
I
were so
love
close.
I love living in magical gumdrop land.
I love it. I don't
It
care.
goes off every
It's
time.
happening.
Burnt as soon as someone says Solar Painter.
I mean,
Listen.
it's more fun than saying Solar Planar, Darkness, Mina Harker.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
we had a conversation
Assassin
about that.
of Mool. This is the Assassin of Mool. Our first ever X resonator that you have to actively track the X value for. 1 plus black, 1 blue plus 1 black plus X. Quick cast Bane. You may play this card from a graveyard. It does not have Remnant. It just can be cast from the graveyard. J Resonators battling this with this card gain -X. This is part of why you have to track the X value. Reunited with Valentina. When this card leaves the field, put a Water Darkness Fantasy token copy of a Resonator that was stacked face up below this card into the field. Keep in mind that if you have the Sub-Ruler active, that means you get to put 2. Because it'll do its automatic ability twice. Enter, or whenever this card attacks, choose 1. Put the top X cards of another player's deck into their owner's graveyard, or stack a Resonator from each other player's graveyard below this card. So again, because it's a Water Darkness Resonator, you get to choose that you can do both of those things, where you can put the top X plus 3 and then take one of those cards from under them and put it under this card.
So what you're saying is there's a world where with the Sub-Ruler active, I can play this card, choose 1,000 life for X, put this card into the field, and my opponent then loses
8 cards?
8 cards of their deck.
Mm-hmm.
16 cards?
No, just 8.
Just 8?
Just 8. It
Oh,
doesn't.
why?
Where you're
It
Because like
has to.
you
It
just
has
said
to
we
leave.
double the enter ability.
When
right?
it leaves the field, the Sub-Ruler specifically says when a Water Darkness Fantasy Resonator you control
it
leaves
leaves the
yeah.
field.
when this
Okay.
card leaves
Okay.
the field. So it would
Okay.
mill 8 on enter, and then it would mill 8 on leaving.
That seems really good.
So casually just eating 16 cards out of your opponent's deck.
Are we getting a real mill deck?
I mean,
Playing
yeah.
Athenia.
Enter
Gets to depth.
Enter mill 8, swing mill 8, die mill 8. Correct. Yes. So we play Sack Altar. Sure.
Yeah.
This doesn't fetch it.
Go right ahead.
Suck up all those tokens. Kill this thing off.
Yeah. It's very, very cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, this is cool.
I like it a lot.
also a 2
I like it better
water
today.
resonator
It's also a
in your deck.
2-cost water resonator. Yeah, for sure. Although that doesn't
Yeah,
super
there you
really
go.
do much because the X value would always be 0 then. But then you at least get 3
But
cards,
it's still 3
right?
cards
Yeah,
every
right.
attack.
It's still good. Yeah, it's 3 still cards.
Or you get you could suck up a resonator from underneath your opponent
Yep.
for your opponent's graveyard too, which is
Mhm.
decent.
This is what I'm saying about, like, Valentina, again, was always a slower deck, right? So the thing about Valentina, and we actually, to be perfectly honest, we talked about this when I was talking about what I wanted for Valentina back before. I was like, she is a slower deck, good water stuff, something for her to be able to play spells while developing a board was, like, what I wanted for her, right? I wanted her to be able to play spells, lean into that while still developing a board. This is exactly that. Like, she can focus her time playing spells, hit something like this, and then use your opponent's resources against them while she's still doing what she was doing before, which is just like, mwah, chef's kiss, perfect for Val 4.
Oh, also just realize you can just sack with Valentina when she judgments too.
Mm-hmm. She sacks tokens. She sacks tokens.
Banish 2 resonators.
Is it just
Choose
energy
one.
resonators?
That's what the card says.
Never mind.
Draw a card or destroy target J/resonator.
Yeah.
So that's always nice.
Mill strat, mill strat, mill strat,
Mill
mill
strat,
strat,
mill
mill strat.
Mill.
We got one more card for her though, which is I don't like this artwork.
Yeah.
I don't like this artwork. So excuse me while I just move Paul
What?
and Patrick in front of it, or Paul and
What do you mean?
Paul.
I don't see
and
anything
Mike
wrong with this,
in
Jeremy.
front of this card for like 2 seconds. There we go.
There's
Perfect.
so many
Perfect.
things going wrong with this card.
Perfect. I'll just shrink Mike and Paul to be
Wow.
really small really quickly while this is happening. There we go. Perfect. There we go. This is
Wait, I get to be on the I get to be on the blue bot? Nice.
This is the Nightmare That Engulfs Maul, a Mool, a blue-black X-Spell fantasy. Reunited, you pay 0 rather than pay the will activation cost of activate abilities of entities you control with Mool in their name. Kind of like itself, because it's... Anyway, enter, reveal the X Water Darkness Fantasy Resonators, cards with different names you own outside the game, and keep them revealed until end of game. Then search your deck, graveyard, and or hand for an addition with Mool in its name and put it into the field. Can't search for itself. If you search your deck, shuffle it. Tap, pay blue-black, which is just tap because you're Valentina. Put a token copy of target Fantasy Resonator card you own revealed outside the game into the field. I would like to point out that you can just keep making a token copy of the same resonator over and 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 over again.
Yep. It just says fantasy resonator.
Fantasy
Hold on.
resonator.
Yeah, I'm really
Hold
sad
on.
that the 4-drop
You could
boost art
only-
from that set is not a fantasy.
You can only reveal Water Darkness Fantasy Resonators, right? So like what you're revealing to be able to use it is Water Darkness Fantasies. So
Reveal. Okay, you're right. Never mind.
water and darkness. It has to
It's
be
because of
both.
the enter. Okay, I was like,
Yeah.
oh crap. This is really good. Oh, that's all right.
Lakeside House. What
we'll
set is
live.
this from? Masterpiece 2. Comes out next week. Masterpiece 2 Fates Reunited. It is the Lapis Cluster Masterpiece set.
And there are 2 new mechanics, Fate and Reunited.
And Reunited is just shorthand for if your ruler is X. And Fate is a way to
If
get...
your ruler has X in the name.
Sorry, yeah, if your ruler has X in the name. And Fates is just a cool way to get sub-rulers, which is this card, another card that we've already talked about. We do have stuff that unreveals now, but you should always at least get 1 token if you immediately use it. Yeah, you'd have priority. But you could also like respond to them tapping to unrevealed, and then just be like, okay, ta-da.
So at present, we get a bounce on ETB, with the Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
With
There's one that makes a token on enter.
Deceptive Dream. Your opponent discards a card, and when this card is put into the graveyard, you draw. We have a Ghost of Ataraxia that draws you a card on damage, and then when it goes to the graveyard, you get a token.
Yeah.
like
Or you
said.
can just
So,
get a copy of Assassin.
Or you can just get a copy of Assassin.
You could also just get Assassin.
Just sideboard one of those.
You could just
And have that
sideboard
be
one
X
Assassin
minus-
and
yeah.
just grab Assassin.
Yeah, and all of them trigger when entering and leaving. Yeah. Valentina got some real threats, which I am here for sure.
Threats
Oh.
other than her broken back.
Yeah. Moving on from this card, we got. Do we want to talk about books or do we want to talk about Dark Tree first?
Books.
Books make me less mad, so books, please.
Books. So we're gonna start with their sub ruler. This is I can increase the size on Paul and Mike again.
No, put me on top of a chair, Arizona. be fine.
There we go. Here we go. So we've got. Whoa! I deleted them. There they are.
Oh no.
You don't need us.
So this is
Looks like Jeremy really closed the book on us this
Hey,
time around. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
We were just token copy of co-hosts the whole time.
Yeah.
This is the Library of Neverending Stories. Shut up, Mike. This is the Library of Neverending Stories. It is a aid for Book of Light or Book of Dark. As the game starts, you search your deck for a card named Grimoire of 1001 Nights, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So then the beginning of game triggers happen, and you get Grimoire. So you essentially start with Grimoire 100% of the time. You may play the judgment process of rulers you control anytime you would play a card with Quick Cast, and you can swap your ruler with a ruler you own outside the game named Book of Light or Book of Dark. If you do, draw a card, then discard a card. And then it has the good old kind of reflect and refrain bounce back from the J ruler side, which is pay 0, target a J ruler you control, put it into your ruler area with its ruler side face up. If you do, produce 1 void. Spend this spell only to play a judgment process. That is not limited to once per turn. It is not limited to only your own turn. So your opponent can't ever kill the books unless they are somehow using something that's unchaseable. Yeah. So,
And Blank's Eternal?
Books.
And Blank's
Eternal. That's unchaseable. So, seems unlikely. Automatically, this is really good because it essentially just a note is that the deck building requirements of the books only applies in deck construction. So it doesn't matter once you've if you start with Book of Light and have Will of Hopes, and then you swap to Book of Dark, it doesn't care that you have Will of Hopes in your deck. It does not matter. But this also does let the books call stone and then swap, so they can then perform judgment, which is essentially like tag without tag for the sake of the books, which is kind of insane. And is
that's a good question.
If you swap your ruler back and forth, would it lose the astral condition? Yeah, it'd be seen as a new card.
It's outside the game.
So I mean, even if you did have a way to kill them, they could just rebuild themselves. Listen, Scheherazad's book repair department in the Library of Neverending Stories is top notch. She can restore any book to its previous condition. Does not matter what you want to do.
Resmudify.
Did you just say smudify?
That's all I was like.
Jimmy, re-smudify. Thank you very much.
Okay, anyway, moving right along. Let's talk about the books. We have the book that you're going to grab first, the 10 Notes of Proto-Paterpolis War. 2 cost. For entities of effects you control, treat this card as a Resonator card with Will of Hope, Will of Despair, and Mythic in all areas. I do have a question for Alejandro in the chat. What does this mean if you have 2 of them? How does that interact with them having Mythic? That's the confusing part for me. Cards with Will of Hope or Will of Despair you control gain prevent all damage that would be dealt to this card by sources without Will of Hope or Will of Despair, and this card cannot be discarded in all zones. So just like the never-ending story resonators. Bookworm, which is a new ability. Non-J-ruler book entities you control become a 1,000 book resonators until end of turn. Play this ability only if you control 6 book cards in public zones, and only a bookworm ability per turn. And then tap, produce 2 void. Spend this will only to play judgment processes. This is the first one you grab off of the book judgment 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm. Wow, no way.
Probably that's something the QA answers. Oh, thanks, Alejandro.
Alejandro said, "Oh no, man."
Yeah, we are going to talk. We are going to talk about that too, Yo-Yo White, in just a second. So this card is obviously the first one you grab because then the sub-ruler plus this gives you 3 will for judgment by themselves, which then means you can grab other books or pretty much any other will of hope or despair card that you actually care about trying to cheat in. So then the books can just save all of their stones for other good stuff. Right, this single-handedly puts the books on the map of okay, there's definitely something here.
Interaction.
Yeah, it's great. Great.
What?
I do want to point out one thing about the books as well that someone pointed out is the fact that the library is a sub-ruler that involves you switching to a non-starting ruler. And in the rules, you are allowed to play the game with 1 extension rule and 1 sub-ruler. So the books can play Return of Judgment, which says anytime a J-ruler enters the field, if it was your non-starting ruler, you pop an non-Magic Stone entity and draw a card. So, every time the book's Judgment, they also get to pop something and draw a card.
At quick-cast speed.
Quick-cast speed.
That seems pretty good.
It's really good for the books. No, it's fine. Good. It's fine. We're just gonna get a immediate combo ban of library plus Return of Judgment, which would be fair. But I also am like, nah, let them cook. Let them have 3 months. Let them have 3 months.
They're books, man. They're books. Just let it happen.
Yeah, it's really good. Return of Judgment for the books is insanely good.
book deck is now just going to be like, all right, cool, I've got my deck on me. All right,
It
cool,
is-
what are you playing?
it is a
I'm playing
mascot.
book.
That's a good point. It is a mask out for them as well, because they just get to pop mask because it's an extension rule targeting it. So they can just pop mask and not care about their any of their stuff. Like that's really good for the books as well. Is not having to worry about mask. Book control.
The
Let's go.
books, they're here under my floorboards.
Let
Did you read the books?
let them book.
Are you prepared to
Reading
be
the book
a
explains
cage
the books.
master?
Next up, we have the Epic of the Dragon Lord. This is a 3-cost Will of Despair.
That's a set.
Yeah, it's also a set. Hey, crazy. With Mythic and Eternal.
Whoa.
For effects of Jade Rulers you control, treat this card as a Resonator with Will of Despair in all areas. That's so that you can grab it off of Judgment, because it specifically says grab a Resonator when this is an addition. Entities you control with Will of Despair gain Terrifying, and when this card leaves the field, destroy up to 1 target damaged Resonator. It's really funny that this is an addition that gains Terrifying. I really just has it. It's just like great.
This book is so scary, man. I don't know.
Each player's maximum hand size is decreased by 4. Enjoy having 3 cards in your hand. Bookworm, tap, pay 1,000 life. Put a Resonator with Will of Despair from your graveyard into this field. Play this ability only if you control 6 book cards in public zones and 1 Bookworm ability per turn. I do want to point out that the books have book as their race now, so the book itself that's using as your ruler counts as 1. Grimoire is a book, so that counts as 2. The sub-ruler is a book, so that counts as 3. So you start the game with 3 books. You need to get 3
Alice
more
Incarnate
books.
is book.
Well, she's banned, but she is also book.
Alice that turns into other races is book.
Traveler in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Make
you for that.
everything a book.
There you go. The
I do wanna-
others
books
reading
here.
out loud.
I do want to just say I have officially requested it. So hopefully it gets approved, but I am trying to get Epic of the Dragon Lord to be one of the FowFest prize wall mats. Because who dang,
Let's do it.
is this artwork gorgeous? It's got Kiki on it too. I mean, come on.
It's gorgeous. I
Yeah,
I
love
was trying to
this
find
art.
Kiki in the artwork. Actually, hang
A
on.
ruler-
Wait,
It's right on
Ruler
Celesta's
School
shoulder.
staple.
I don't realize. Okay, I missed the shoulder. That's perfect.
Find
This is
the
the best
Kiki.
artwork ever created.
Find the-
This is
yeah.
the best artwork ever
Yeah,
created.
100%. And Ragnarok's in there, looking sly in the background. It's great.
Roar.
Little dragon boy.
Mikage looking tier 0.
Speaking of
As per
artwork that is
usual.
incredibly busy, this is the Decisive Battle of Valhalla. This artwork is so busy.
Oh my god.
3
My
cost
eyes.
3 cost Will of Hope Mythic Eternal has the same thing where you can grab it off of Book of Hope. Entities you control with Will of Hope gain Barrier Chant as long as they are not battling, and this card cannot lose its abilities. Players cannot play spells or activate abilities during a battle phase, which then what okay, like this to me is the silliest thing ever. Like, players cannot play spells or activate abilities during a battle phase, but also as long as your resonators aren't battling, they have Barrier Chant, a barrier that they would need if people could do anything during the battle phase. They can't.
It's for those non-activated chant abilities, of course,
Yeah.
Jeremy. Come on.
For sure, you're right. It does mean that you
They're
can't.
automatics.
It does mean you can't ever pump up your own stuff, like in response to no blocks or anything else like that, because it is locking both players, which I think is correct. But it is very interesting.
Wait. Jeremy, it says as long as they're not battling.
That's what I'm saying. But you're also players cannot play spells or activate abilities during a battle phase.
No, it
So
gains barrier as
so-
long as they're not battling.
oh, right. So they're whatever. It's weird. It's
They
very
just-
strange.
No touch. No touch.
Yeah, just don't touch. Don't touch. I'm just like, why not just let them keep Barrier Chant? Like, I'm like, why take it away from them? When no one can do anything to them anyway. Anyway, Bookworm ability is just tap, put 2 2/2 Light Spirit Fairy Tale Resonator tokens with Will of Hope into the field. Play this ability only if you control 6 book cards in public zones and only 1 Bookworm ability per turn. This is the worst of the Bookworm abilities.
Yeah, this is like so underwhelming.
But it's so
compared to
bad.
The other two. Okay, but I will say, very importantly, this artwork is actually less busy than DBV Satan's text box. So let's
It's
be
true.
thankful for that.
I mean, it is
That's
also it is very cool artwork. Don't get me wrong; like it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
flavorful. It looks
they
very
took the
good.
DBV arts and put them all on.
Yeah,
Those are all just not just their DBV art,
but looks
it's
very
remade
similar to their
DBV
Genshi.
art.
Yeah, it's like
It's
very
their
similar.
same
Comic-ified.
pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid.
Only barrier chant. Everything else can get to them as long as it's not the battle phase. Yeah, for sure. I like this card a lot. I think it's great. I think it's probably like the book that you grab to make Proto-Paterpolus be able to turn them all into 10/10s and kill something. Like, it's, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think that DBV is better. I think the order goes 10 oaths, DBV, or sorry, 10 oaths, EDL, DBV, kill them. Like, that's the sequence.
Spirit Fairy.
Sometimes you skip that last one.
Yeah, and sometimes you
You
might
just
not
go,
even need the last
EDL,
one.
kill them.
Yeah, sometimes you might not even need the last one. Because we have another book to talk about. We have the Box Topper, Fates Reunited. This is a Regalia book. Enter, name 2 cards. Resonators. We're going to be very specific here, okay? We got to listen. We got to really pay attention. Resonators, chants, additions, magic stones, extension rules, and multi-attribute rulers that share a name with the card named this way lose all non-will activate abilities and all named abilities, things like Evil Dead, in all areas as long as this card is in the field. Okay, did we all learn something? Did we listen?
Jeremy, this
Did we
thing,
pay
this thing
attention?
is broken. What
Okay.
the fuck, man?
I heard only mono attribute rulers
No.
lose all abilities.
No, Paul, no.
I heard every ruler loses every ability,
No.
and also your opponent has to eat a gross bug that you give them.
No.
I hear that Worlds is now always going to be Paradox if you play this card.
No. No.
I hear that playing this card gives Jeremy Franklin an aneurysm.
Okay, no. And then also, it has more
I think
text on it.
Card
Tap.
gives Jeremy Franklin. a name.
Yeah, tap. This card gives Jeremy Franklin an aneurysm. Tap. Flip all cards you don't own outside the game face down. On solo mode text, non-regalia entities your opponent controls lose and cannot gain barrier. That's honestly the best line of text on this card. Reunited with Lapis Cluster, it gains a God's Art twice upon a time. Pay 0. Reveal this card from your hand. Put this card from your hand into the field. It gains barrier until the end of the game. This card stops Mirror. It does not. It does not stop Mirror.
This is what they were doing to me.
Duh.
I swear to God,
All of those activate
If you-
abilities on Mirror.
if you call cards that this card doesn't affect, or if you call a card that doesn't exist, or if you call a card that isn't legal, I am going to strangle you.
No, listen, here's the
I'm
thing.
not-
As
Can I
Jeremy
call
No,
Dragon?
listen. As Jeremy Lindley pointed out, if they call Feathsing the Wind the Sixth Sage of Wind, I'm gonna go, okay. You have named that card. All of my 0 activate abilities will now be removed from this card. You did it. All of my, oh wait,
What?
I'm a mono attribute ruler doesn't do anything to me anyway. Like, I want someone to play this card and call Lilia's Petal, and I'm going to go, great, Judgment. Make a Chimera.
But Jeremy, it's the thing you activate. Isn't that an activate ability? Ah!
Judgment is a
Is
continuous.
Ox a ruler or a J ruler, kids?
You named Tony.
Tony.
Name Tony.
Doesn't do anything. It doesn't. It would stop his cancellation ability, right? Or his
Wow.
duplicating ability.
Tony is a card that does not exist.
Yeah. So, can you also declare your own cards? Yes. Because it affects your own stuff. It's both sides. Currently, there are like 7 rulers that this impacts. Lehen is one of them. Astema, Belial, the new Dark Tree, which we'll talk about in a second. There's like barely any rulers that this touches. Namely, what it does touch is stuff like Crossing Point, not being able to do its God's Art to make a free chant, or calling something like a card that has sunken treasures, like the fishing spot of Zhang's, whatever. Like, you can make it so that card doesn't have the named ability Sunken Treasures, and as such cannot be played from the bottom of the deck if it's revealed, right? That kind of stuff. This is Force of Will's versions of Pithing Needle, which is the least important ability on this card, because non-regalia entities lose and cannot gain barrier is the best line of text on this card.
So notably, this does not say not. It doesn't say. It says non-will activate ability. So it doesn't even hit Alhamad or any of the other guys.
Yep,
It hits Gil Lapis.
And very importantly, if somebody
Gil Lapis,
ends up
by the way,
ever playing,
it hits Gil Lapis, who can ignore that text entirely because he has Giotto, who does the work of his zero cost activate ability for him anyway.
Yep.
and also very importantly, you can use this card to style on people, which is the more important thing. Where if you're playing against, say, like Federico Zappini, you can name "Don't Cheat" at the beginning of the game by flashing this in, and it's great.
Glorian fan, could you theoretically cancel Prisia's auto lose? First off, no, because it's a sub-ruler. Secondly, no, it's an automatic trigger and not an activate ability. You call K4 because she's a multi-attribute chain ruler. Wait, let me read this for the 6th time. This has been my whole day.
You can't discard dinosaurs with Dusk Girl.
Yes, that's true. You cannot, because she is multi-attribute.
Oh my god.
Zebin's
no.
Slower, Jerry. Slower, Jerry. You're right. So
Lenneth cycle effect.
This is
Wait.
Legitimately.
Wait,
this
hang on.
is
Is Scarlet a multi-attribute ruler?
Yeah, she was updated. She's
She
red
is
black now. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Still need your
stopped
flowchart.
Reunion.
It does stop Reunion. Yes, it puts Reunion
No.
further into the dirt. Reunion has been fully buried.
God.
Yeah, for sure.
No!
Circle.
Not
the circle.
It
The
does.
circle is dead again.
It
Stonk's
does-
destroyed.
It does hit Ruchiel. It hits Ruchiel kind of, mainly in the sense that you can tap to flip all the cards that she's expelled face down. So it takes away the stuff that she has been expelling, right? So it is good anti-Ruchiel stuff, right? Does this affect New Tree? Yes, it does, which we will talk about.
Mm-hmm. Probably talk about New Tree because it's already quarter after done.
Yeah, we're working on it. There's a lot of cards. We got a lot of cards to talk about.
A lot of cards. Yeah.
So let's talk
And
about
let's talk about this card.
Let's
Hey,
talk about
Patrick?
the Yggdrasil Malefic Verdant Tree, green and black. Oh, just one final note on Fates Reunited. It is a sideboard card that will see mainboard play in exactly the books, and it is the exact level of power that a sideboard generic card should be, and I am very happy that it exists because it hits some very problematic things that we haven't had good answers to before. So that's what I want to say about Fates Reunited. I think it's great. 100%. Yggdrasil, and the only reason why it's seeing main deck play in the books is because it's a book. Yggdrasil Malefic Verdant Tree. It is now Wind Darkness, not just Wind. You can only have cards without Solarization in your deck or sideboard. As the game starts, you, the tree player, you cannot gain life, and non-King Resonator cards and non-Queen Resonator cards you own revealed in non-field areas lose all races until end of game, so you can't do Union 7 Olympian bullshit. Prevent the first damage that would be dealt to you each turn. For each 100 damage prevented this way, remove the top 2 cards of your deck from the game. And its tap ability only costs green or black now, not green-black. You can put a King Resonator with Will of Despair or a Queen Resonator with Will of Despair from your removed area into the field. The Dark Kings and Queens the Dark Kings from the set that came out with Dark Tree have now been updated to be actual kings. They were 7 kings before. Now they are 7 kings, kings. So you can grab Dark Arla, Dark Rezar, Dark Melgus.
So they're 8 kings, apparently.
Essentially. This is, I'm gonna say it. This is absolutely a 10 out of 10 rework on Dark Tree. Honestly, flawless execution in my mind, because you also have to consider that Dark Tree will partner with Sebin So Sebin can call stones, and then Yggdrasil is free to just use its tap ability for half the cost, and it takes care of literally the most problematic and toxic elements of Darktree without compromising Darktree's deck type identity. This is a 10 out of 10 rework for me. Any thoughts from anybody? Mike, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Go.
So, I've had many angry comments about Tree for a very long time. I like the no solarization. Good. I like the extra damage, the fact that it does it twice as fast now. Good. I like some of the limitations here. I think Tree still... There's still a couple of loops from back in the day when I first started talking about how bad Tree was that obviously never going to go away. I would be happy to see Tree gone forever. This is like a 9 out of 10. This fits a lot of the bill that was making it bad in current day FOW.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my thoughts right there. I got like nothing else at this point other than just like I'm tired of Tree and I don't like looking at him. I
That's
don't
fair.
like looking at this whole thing here. This does not spark joy.
Glorian fan. So what about its support from Hero Cluster? You can't run it now. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. Sebin will still be able to reveal the Seven Kings rulers because and get that effect off of it because the tree only cares about resonators. He doesn't remove the races from rulers, so you can absolutely still play the Seven King shenanigans if you want to. But now you don't have to rely on life loss or deck out to be able to kill tree. You can just rush tree down and make them lose life. And I think that's a huge impact on this ability. And it also means that aggro tree isn't necessarily as strong because you can just gain life after they've tried to rush you down, which was one of the main things that aggro tree was even trying to do, was just being like, we can't gain life, so if I just hit you a bunch, you die. So just realized they made it green-black, so it hits by Fates Reunited. Yep, it does get hit. You can stop it from having that tap ability. Alice, Possessed Queen of Shadows, our good friend Wednesday, bringing us some beautiful artwork. This is a Queen Shadow Wanderer, 3 cost 6/7 with Terrifying Bane, Will of Despair. If you're playing with Yggdrasil, as you play this card, if it's the first Alice you play this turn, you can pay 7 life and tuck 3 cards back that are specifically Wind and Darkness from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you do, you get to play it for free. Prevent the second damage that would be dealt to you each turn. If damage is prevented this way, remove the top 3 cards of your deck from the game. And you can tap, produce green-black, put a target card from your removed area into your hand. Just for the sake of speed, I'm also going to go ahead and hit the 3rd card for Darktree so we can talk about kind of Darktree's rework as a whole, which is Dying Soul of the Malefic Tree, 3 cost, Will of Despair with Mythic. King Resonators and Queen Resonators you control gain +X/+X, where X is the number of Resonators with Will of Despair in your removed area. And if you're playing with Yggdrasil, you can play it from your removed area, and it prevents the 3rd damage that would be dealt to you each turn. If damage is prevented to you this way, remove the top 6 cards of your deck from the game. At the end of your turn, put a King Resonator card or Queen Resonator card with Will of Despair from your removed area into the field. So the summation is that Darktree starts with a little bit of damage prevention, not nearly as obnoxious as it was before, and can grow the defensive wall over time, but then that defensive wall can be answered, right? So you're not like, I have to spend my whole time trying to either find life loss or stopping them from getting the Allosaurus loop. You can weaken Tree back to a point where any normal aggression strategy can kill Darktree. You don't have to gimmick them out of the game. And this is part of why I think this is the perfect rework, because the true spirit of Darktree is there without any of the things that just made him incredibly obnoxious or toxic, which I think is fine for people who enjoy that kind of playstyle. So, thoughts from the rest of the panel?
Just nice
Pat,
to
I
see
think you
Tree
might
having
have
an
more
actual...
Oh, good. Oh,
Mike, talk first.
I will talk. It's nice to see Tree actually getting a legitimate end game other than just grind game and like make your opponent just not have fun. Like this card reads fun. It says fun. Like if you like block out Sharpie out some of the text, you could write the word fun with this, and it's true. Like
It's true.
big number grow bigger, yes. Play this card from removed area after it gets removed, yes. Prevent damage, not fun, but like fun in the fact that it's not like just ridiculous. And then end of turn recurring thing, fun. Oh my god, that's 3 funs and but like it just it. Do you see how easy it is to make fun cards?
Yeah. Patrick, go.
We took Tree and we put it in 3 different cards. Ultron. But better. But easier to answer.
Yes.
And without any of the stupid, obnoxious CR random bullshit. Because of no solarization and no Union 7 Olympians.
Yay!
Make Darktree play Darktree, not make Darktree take advantage of engines that have nothing to do with Darktree.
You can still go infinite with that
Notably-
one green-white card, though, so... whatever.
Which one are you talking about?
The Reincarnation of the Soul, I think it's called.
Oh, sure. Fine. Let him have it. It's
Oh,
fine.
that one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. Eh.
This doesn't touch Allosaurus. It doesn't touch Horn. It also doesn't touch Athenia's Essence to dump your RFG back into your graveyard
Sure.
and just shuffle it back in.
Sure.
So you can still just infinite your opponent.
If they're not attacking
But
you
it's-
more than once a turn.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you just go wide, this deck is a little bit easier to manage now, which is still fine. And then it can manage everything else in the game a little bit still the same.
Because
but-
the other thing is too is with how the way this works and the way that Darktree is the only one who can't gain life is you don't have to one shot Darktree. You can just chip them, right? Like because eventually they will run out of resources or run out of life. The problem before was that there was no way to make them run out of life outside of life loss. Now you can absolutely make Tree run out of life. If you are a go wide deck or a deck that has burn plus some aggression, even if they have all 3 pieces of their protection out, you can still hurt Darktree. Right?
This thing, Jeremy, I didn't read the word first when I first looked at the Yggdrasil
The
change.
Darktree. Yeah.
That's yeah.
Darktree only prevents the first damage. Alice prevents the second damage. Dying Soul prevents the third damage. So if you can stack up enough pressure, even if they have the entire defensive suite out there, you can still hurt them, which I think is the biggest part of like that obnoxious element of like, it doesn't matter how wide my board is, I can't kill you because I don't have life loss and you have an Allosaurus in your hand. Like, if you get enough pressure, Tree will eventually fall, which I think is the thing that needed to be done to make Darktree not obnoxious as hell.
All right. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I would like to make a proposal. Yes, to you, I Spy Productions. This is only for your eyes. Everyone else, turn off the stream. You don't need to hear this.
How will they hear it
Please
if the
keep
stream
the
is
stream
turned up? And on that note, thank you all so much for being here. Until next time, I am TMO17.
So, my thing. Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Toby's onto it in the chat.
Don't have to be forced
Get
60
rid of the
cards.
60 cards.
Yep, you can just play
Get
40.
rid of the 60 card minimum. No. Get rid of the 60 card maximum. That's in the
No.
rules of the game. Let's go, baby.
No, thank
Let's
you.
go.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Do you want to do run the logistics?
No, I don't.
Do you want to run tournament logistics?
Anyway, thank you all so much for
Yes.
watching. Super great cards. Just a few things of housekeeping. We will have a feature match this week for Crossing Point Garmhelm, speaking of Crossing Point, and our last ABC ruler versus Rework Welser this week. We are also trying to get caught up on deck profiles this week. I know we're a little bit behind, so apologies for that. We'll be back next week for the final week of spoilers. And then I have to confirm when I'm allowed to post the unboxing video, but it's filmed. So, like, that's coming soon. And honestly, here's the funny thing. I still haven't seen everything. So there's stuff that I don't know about yet. So that's fun. But we're looking forward to seeing that. Obviously, again, get your orders in for the set. It's going to be insane, and we can't wait to see what comes out of both. We have a lot to talk about for the next 2 weeks. More spoilers. Week after that, we'll be talking about the new ban lists for ABC, Paradox, and Wanderer, because we're gonna get our first official Paradox ban list. Curious for that. And then we're going to jump into Masterpiece 2 feature matches, which is pretty exciting. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for the Water Boys for joining me tonight with Patrick Ogrens and Paul Reisman.
So, Jeremy, do my automatic abilities trigger if they name me with Fates Reunited
Yeah,
and I
actually.
enter the field?
Yeah, your automatic abilities will still trigger under Fates Reunited. Yep, even if they name you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
but I'm a mono attribute ruler. Is that okay?
No, you're not. Yeah, I mean, even then, you will lose nothing. You will lose nothing. Even
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm safe?
Yeah, you're safe. Fully safe.
Safe.
Now, Mike, on the other hand, is a multi-attribute ruler, and his activate ability is pay 0, annoy the shit out of Jeremy. So if I name Mike Rance, that'll stop.
I'm just gonna flip to my other book. I'm gonna blow up that edition.
No.
No.
And I've been joined, as always, by Mike Rance. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next
Remember,
time.
everyone, talk about the deck size limit in global. They can't stop us all.
Class dismissed,
No.
everybody. Have a good night.